The MCU is finally back and it dropped Captain Marvel. Was it good? Audience members don't really think so. Let's get into it. Carol Danvers becomes one of the universe's most powerful heroes when Earth is caught in the middle of a galactic war between two alien races. So I gotta say, I was really looking forward to this movie. So before I give you guys my full thoughts, make sure to comment yours down below. Did you love this movie? Did you hate this movie? How does it rank? Are you guys gonna see it if you haven't seen it? Whatever you guys got, comment down below. And we're gonna start this review right off with the good. And my absolute favorite thing about this movie was Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson. He was just amazing. They had the CGI on him that made him look years younger, and none of that was a distraction at all. I was really nervous about that. He has two eyes, and he is just a funny, different kind of Nick Fury than we're used to. And the MCU movies we know now, he's kind of this uptight, grumpy, down to business type guy. And this movie, he's a very loving and open and kind of very funny guy, and he has a really good relationship with the cat, and it really brings out the soft side of Nick Fury, and he has some of the best humor in this movie. Also, the visuals in this movie were just stunning. Captain Marvel, when she was all lit up and her fists were on fire, it was beautiful to watch. I was very nervous about the CGI not looking that great with her, but 100% it held up. And since this movie is a prequel, they had a lot of loose ends they had to tie for it to make sense in the later movies, and they had probably 8 different things in this movie that they tied in perfectly, gave a reasoning for everything. Every little thing that happened, they covered, and it was absolutely amazing. And the chemistry between Samuel L. Jackson and Brie Larson was next to none. They didn't have as much humor in there, which I actually enjoyed, because a lot of Marvel movies anymore have too much humor. You find yourself laughing more often than not. And this movie had its jokes, and when it had its jokes, it landed, and Nick Fury gave a lot of those jokes. And even Brie Larson has her wit, has a charismatic, she's a badass lady, she's a noble warrior, and she's a noble warrior hero, actually. And this movie didn't have a bunch of action, but when it did, the action was spot on awesome. And how I said they tied it in for the later films, the flow made perfect sense. They did a fantastic job with this being a prequel. But with all that being said, now we're gonna hop into the negative side of this movie. My biggest problem with this movie was just Brie Larson herself. Certain scenes she gave it her all. Other scenes she didn't, which is really kind of heartbreaking to me, because in the movie Room, she is amazing. She won an Academy Award for it, and she brought her A game in that movie, and she brought her A game in certain scenes of this movie, but other times she was kind of like, eh. Also, when she would have these one-liners that were supposed to be kind of funny when she was having a big fight scene, it just seemed very bland, seemed very dry. Bothered me because certain times I was kind of like, I would literally make a weird face and kind of almost cringe at it, because I was like, this is not the Brie Larson we know. And at other times it'd be like, yes, that's the Brie Larson we know and we love. But certain times, again, it felt like more often than not, it just felt kind of like she wasn't really there. She was kind of just, I'm not saying I hated Brie Larson in this movie, but she just wasn't my favorite part of it. I didn't think she was great. I didn't think she was terrible. I thought she was just okay. And this is just a pointer for you. In 2008, Agent Coulson tells Tony Stark all the time what SHIELD stands for, and Tony Stark says to him about 4 times in the movie, you need an abbreviation for that. You need an abbreviation for that. And at the end of the movie, he says, SHIELD. So now we're in the 90s and we have SHIELD. I don't know. Someone tell me down below. I was so like, someone didn't do their homework. I was kind of baffled by that in the movie. More of a nitpick, not really a critique. Biggest problem for this movie is a different kind of origin story, which isn't a bad thing, but the first 40 minutes of this movie can be often confusing and very slow. My brother kept asking me questions like, what's going on? What is this? What is that? I said, I think it's all gonna work itself out. It later did, but the first 35 minutes are a slow moving paced movie. And I get they're building it up for the later. Certain times in the front where you're kind of like looking at your watch and you're waiting for the movie to pick up. Eventually does, but it takes a while to get there. One thing is that they didn't really have a main villain. They kind of had so many plot points, it's kind of hard to find the main villain. Obviously there is a villain. I obviously know who the villain is. I'm not going to share with you guys. It's non-spoilers here, but it felt like they were kind of all over the place certain times with different storylines. Who's the bad guy, who's not the bad guy, and the past meeting the future. It all did seem kind of confusing. It worked well, but I can see how many people could get confused. Overall, for a score, I would give Captain Marvel a solid 7 out of 10. I know I had my nitpicks and my critiques, but I honestly enjoyed this movie. When it picked up at the end, the last hour and a half, you really are getting invested in it. You were really like, this is what I wanted the entire movie. I recommend you guys go see it, because on Rotten Tomatoes, look at the scores. The critics is a 82% and the audience is a 34. I don't know how many of that is trolls, but do me a favor and go see Captain Marvel for yourself. Get an opinion for yourself before you have someone else to tell you don't see it. It's not bad. It's actually a really solid origin story, and I can't wait to see what Captain Marvel brings in Avengers Endgame. Comment your thoughts down below. Did you guys love this movie? Did you hate it? Whatever. Be sure to hit that big subscribe button, because later today I got my MCU ranking video. It's going to take me a couple hours to edit, but I am going to do it. So make sure you subscribe, because you're not going to miss a beat. do me a favor and go see a movie. Go see Captain Marvel. Join the conversation. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do what you gotta do and go see Captain Marvel, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!